Fijn dat jullie er zijn. Ik ga mijn scherm met jullie delen. Als het goed is, zien jullie nu mijn scherm. Welkom bij 100% e-mail en bij dit webinar. Voor de mensen die ons nog niet kennen, wij zijn een verlengstuk van jouw marketingafdeling. We bedenken en bouwen datagedreven journeys en dan specifiek gericht op e-mail. Ik ben een van de oprichters, Mark Borgers. En toen wij begonnen, toen zaten we veel aan klantzijde en toen dachten we van de bureaus die we dan inhuurden van hey, dat kan beter. Ik moet soms lang wachten voordat ik een verzoek ingewilligd krijg. Ze helpen mij niet echt, maar ze proberen de tools onder de aandacht te brengen. Dus wij dachten dat kan anders. Iedereen die bij ons werkt, die voor ons werkt, al onze klanten hebben hun eigen e-mailmarketeer waar ze de vragen aan kunnen stellen. We zijn software onafhankelijk. We hebben ontzettend veel ervaring, want we werken alleen met mediums en seniors. En iedereen bij ons is helemaal gek van e-mailmarketing. Dat software onafhankelijke, dat zorgt ervoor dat we ook vaak vragen krijgen over welke tool, welke marketing automation software kunnen wij nu het beste inzetten. En dat is eigenlijk de basis geweest van het idee dat we hadden van, weet je wat, we gaan al die tools, of in ieder geval een groot deel van de e-mail marketing softwarepartijen en de partijen waar wij ook mee samenwerken, naast elkaar zetten. We gaan daar gewoon een webinar voor organiseren. Zodat jullie inzicht krijgen in welke software kan, wat de ontwikkelingen zijn op dat gebied. Of dat iets is wat anders is dan de huidige functionaliteiten bijvoorbeeld die je hebt. Overigens wordt dit webinar opgenomen. En dat betekent ook dat je het later nog kan terugkijken. Dus je hoeft niet als een gek screenshots te maken als je iets ziet waarvan je denkt van oh, dat is leuk, dat wil ik even onthouden. Er komen video's van. Een andere opmerking is dat als je vragen hebt, stel ze gewoon in de chat. Fleur houdt dat allemaal goed bij en zal zorgen dat de vragen ook bij de juiste sprekers terechtkomen. En als onze sprekers van ACTITO zo aan het woord zijn, dan is er zelfs ook gelegenheid om tijdens het verhaal zelf nog vragen te stellen. Wie zijn er allemaal vandaag? Nou, we hebben Janine Hamilton. Zij zit in Londen klaar om jullie van alles te vertellen. Zij is een ervaren strateeg. Ze adviseert bedrijven al vanaf 2010 in allerlei strategische en operationele oplossingen in eigenlijk allerlei branches. De persoon bij mij bovenin, maar misschien staat hij bij jullie ergens anders, die ook gaat spreken, dat is Rimantas Sipkes. Hij is helemaal gek van het bouwen en ontwikkelen van oplossingen. Hij heeft 15 jaar ervaring bij eigenlijk in het design en de implementatie van datagedreven SaaS-toepassingen, software as a service toepassingen. Zij gaan straks het grootste deel van het webinar invullen. Ik ga zelf nog even een klein filmpje laten zien van 100% e-mail, zodat jullie precies weten wat wij eigenlijk voor bedrijf zijn. En dan is het ook, dan gaan we lekker de diepte in met elkaar.
Hey, jij daar, marketeer. Wat zie jij er lekker relaxed uit? Geen ondercapaciteit dus op je afdeling? En je haalt ook het maximale uit je e-mailmarketing? Maar hoe doe je dat dan? Oh, ik zie het al. Jij werkt met 100% e-mail. Met jouw 100% e-mailmarketeer kun je eenvoudig opschalen, zodat jouw e-mailoperatie altijd op 100% is. Geen account of projectmanager, gewoon direct een verlengstuk van jouw eigen marketingafdeling. Samen stellen we de e-maildoelstellingen vast en gaan we aan de slag. Achter deze 100% e-mailmarketeer staat een heel team van specialisten tot jouw beschikking. En die zorgen er allemaal voor dat jij de beste resultaten haalt. En daarnaast hoef je bij ons ook nooit over te stappen op nieuwe marketingsoftware. Geef ons de login en we beginnen morgen. We mogen dit mooie werk doen voor een heleboel leuke klanten. Dus de vraag die overblijft is, hoeveel e-mailmarketingafdeling heb jij eigenlijk nodig?
Nou, de oplettende kijker heeft gezien dat Fleur naast moderator in dit evenement ook nog filmster is. Want je zag haar heel pontificaal in beeld als marketeer van 100% e-mail. Nou, we werken echt voor leuke klanten, daar zijn we echt super blij mee. Maar kennis delen doen we naast dit soort webinars ook op andere manieren. En passend bij het onderwerp van vandaag laat ik hier nog even ons boekje zien op het gebied van marketing automation, e-mail marketing automation. De link zit in de presentatie, maar misschien anders gooi je hem nog even in de chat straks, Fleur. Dan kunnen jullie kijken of het iets voor jullie is. Ja, vandaag dus ACTITO. De introductie zit dus een beetje op en Rimantas en Janine gaan het zo van mij overnemen om een demonstratie te geven van deze software. Voordat we daarmee beginnen nog één aspect. Het is dus een reeks van 5 keer een uur waarbij er steeds andere software, marketing automation software aan bod komt. En om het makkelijk te maken dat je bepaalde dingen kan vergelijken en dat je ook deels dezelfde aanpak ziet in een andere technische oplossing, hebben we 3 onderdelen die steeds terugkomen in alle presentaties van alle 5 partijen. De eerste is dat we hebben gevraagd aan de sprekers om meerdere voorbeelden van contentpersonalisatie te geven op basis van klantgedrag, liefst in meerdere kanalen. Het tweede wat terugkomt is de mogelijkheid om automation in campagnes te organiseren, in te richten. En de partij mag zelf bepalen of het nou in de buyer journey is of in de customer journey. Op het moment dat je nog geen klant bent of juist als je al wel klant bent. En de derde vraag die we hebben gesteld aan ze is of ze aandacht willen geven aan wat meer user experience, custom experience-achtige zaken. Bijvoorbeeld interactiviteit in e-mail of push notifications of personalisatie op landing pages. Dus daar komt ook informatie over. Nou, dat was het voor wat betreft mijn inleiding. Janine, I would like to give you the possibility to talk about ACTITO together with Rimantas.
Thank you, Mark. So just to introduce a little bit about ACTITO. So we are a marketing activation platform. And I'll talk a little bit at the start of my presentation about what we mean by activation. But we've been in the market for just over 20 years. We are European focused. So we started life in Belgium, which means that our focus is very much about catering to languages across Europe. We're very GDPR focused, but our real passion is to enable marketers very easily to access all of the data that they have around their organization and be able to use that data really effectively to personalize messages, to target their customers, to run automations. So everything in our solution is about trying to make that as easy as possible for marketers in teams, large and small, to achieve. Anything to add, Rimantas?
No, I think you said it all.
So shall I start by taking us through some of the use cases, Mark? Yeah. Okay, so let me just share my screen. So as I said, ACTITO is really focused about activation. So that's activating your data, activating your customers, and really trying to use that to generate as much ROI as you can. So I did want to start by just talking about what do we mean by activation. And for me, certainly, the activation is about two key things. You know, finding those moments where you spot that customer, you spot that need that they have, you hear them, and you want to respond to them. And then really being able to use the data, use what you've learned about them in that moment through any first or zero-party data you have to create a really great experience for them. And customers are really requiring a great experience now, and it's getting that right is what's going to give you success in the long run. So I thought it was also worth it to just spend a little moment talking about some of the impact that you can see from doing this kind of activation. So hopefully you can all see my screen really well. If you can't for any reason, just ping that in the chat for Fleur. But this is just an example of the kind of results that our clients see using the platform when they start to really activate that data. So they're moving from doing a much more newsletter focused kind of program into more customer journeys, more scenarios as we think of them. And you see some really great results, not only in terms of the engagement with the open rate, obviously revenue, and being able to tap into all of these opportunities that exist across your business. But also really importantly for us, you know, it's about that return on investment. So it's not only the revenue you bring in, but also the efficiency that you can make. So for some of our customers, putting these processes in place using our tool, they've been able to be much more efficient in how they spend their marketing budget and actually bring down the cost of promotion as well. So if you combine that, you know, increase in revenue coming through the channels with that reduction in cost, the ROI benefit of, you know, moving towards more activation and more automation is fantastic. So to save my own sanity, I think, and mean that I don't have to flip between presentation and the platform, kindly my colleague Romantis he's going to jump into the platform and show you these things in reality. And I'm going to talk a little bit at each point about the use cases that we have to share with you. So the kind of results that people have seen implementing solutions in ACTITO. So the first one of these is really around the content, more around the content personalization topic. Obviously, there is a lot of things that you can do across the board. You know, for ACTITO, we've got a really flexible data model. So the idea behind that is you can bring in all sorts of different information that you want to use to personalize. It's not just what's happening directly on the website, but it's also things like this example about what's happening in a loyalty program that's being driven mostly offline. So our clients pull this data in, and then what they're able to do is to send real-time messages to their customers, anyone on their reward scheme, after each purchase, and actually provide them with up-to-date information on the points that they've earned and what they can use to spend those points on. So qualifying offers. And this is just running on a really simple scenario. Within ACTITO, it's just a few steps that it's taken for them to be able to put that in place. And within that message, they've been able to enhance that with a complete breakdown of the points that someone's been earning. So each time they've got a kind of itemized list of what rewards they've been able to make. And as I say, the qualifying messages around what those points actually translate to for the customer. And now they're going further again to start to introduce top offers into this message based on what people have purchased previously. They're quite food orientated, so they're also using data that they capture in a preference center to introduce recipes based on, you know, dietary preference, so vegan, vegetarian, and also start to personalize some of the other offers and details of this around the kind of average order value, you know, whether it's a mum buying for a full family of 4 or 5 kids versus, you know, a couple. They've obviously got different needs around the products, different amounts that they need to do, whether it's, you know, a pack of 2 or a pack of 4. So they're really starting to add those data points in a really meaningful way for the customer experience. So Romantis is going to, as I say, jump into the platform for us. And he's just going to show how easy it is to pull in content into the editor we have within ACTITO and start to introduce these personalization points.
Okay. I will be sharing my screen. Can you confirm that you see it, Janine?
I see you.
Perfect. Well, hi, everyone. Like Janine mentioned, in ACTITO, we do allow marketeers to collect what we refer to as a single customer marketing view. So essentially, the different information about the customers. And what you see on the screen is a list of custom tables having all sorts of information connected to your customer that's in the center, like the abandoned carts, their orders, and in this case, the pets that they have. And on the left side, you do see all the different interactions from the different channels that this customer has made. And together, this first-party information from the custom tables and the event information from different channels form together that single customer view for the marketing specifically. Now, that is all very well, but I think the idea is that you want to get to the value quickly. You want to utilize that data, but it has to be easy. And that's what I wanted to show you now through an example of building a simple email. So the first thing we do when we build an email inside ACTITO is we have a few options, and one of those is to start with a template. The good thing about ACTITO for the marketeer is that they can have some templates that are specifically created by them themselves, or we also provide a library of the templates that just come with an account, and you can start to work on a campaign from something rather than just from a blank screen. So for this case, I'm just going to pick one of the templates and jump right in. As you can see, we are jumping into an email editor. It's pre-populated with the template information. And on the left side, we do have different blocks that we could drag in. Now, again, another optimization that I think is very important to get to that value quickly for the marketeer is to have the modules that kind of are coherent with their brand. And we have this library of modules. So let me just quickly take a look at that. And in there, we do have quite a host of different modules from kind of 1 column to 3 column and so on that we have prepared already for you. And also, we allow you to have your own libraries of modules that you create. So for example, for this demonstration, I put together a few modules that I could be reusing across the campaigns. So let's try to add one. So basically, I can just select it and it appears on the left side. And then from then on, whenever I'm going to use it, I'll be able to just drag these in. Once you kind of drag those modules in, they are not fixed modules. You can still edit them and add all kinds of information. So for example, if we're putting together let's say a Black Friday event promotion, we would want to, we have a module, but we want to fill in the content that's related to it. So what we could do is I'm just going to copy paste some information here to make sure we have something. And just there, and it essentially lets marketer focus on just putting in the content, making sure it's styled correctly. So is it bold colors and things like that. One thing to kind of note is obviously the most simplest form of the personalization that's obviously available everywhere, but as well in ACTITO, is to put something like a first name, which is going to be pulled in from the database. And that's obviously important. Now, the second level, which I think is a bit more rarer, and it's quite a USP, if I might say, is to be able to pull in, for example, the multiple dog names of this person. So there's a dog owner, and let's say he has multiple dog names, and how do we pull in not just the last one or a random one, but all of his names. So in this example, I have a dog names personalization placeholder, and what I can do is I can click on personalizations and add a data source. Now, in the very beginning, I did show you a single customer view with a lot of first-party data, custom tables, and events, and so on. And all of these are accessible to be used in personalization. So, for example, in this case, I'm going to add a data source, and I'm going to pick one of the tables that is available, which is pets, and then just in the placeholder that I named dog names, I will be able to add the table and add the name of the dog. Now, as you can see, if there are multiple values of the dog names, they will be changed together, and I can say how exactly they're going to be shown. So, for example, the first value is going to be, let's say, a Rex, and then there's going to be a comma, and there's going to be a Barky, and then if there's another dog, it's going to be connected via an and sign. So basically, you have this very neat way of dealing with the multiple objects that are connected to a customer that is at the center. So that is one way to personalize it. Now, if we would take the personalization one step higher, in this case, let's say we do want to make sure that a person if he's not using our mobile app already, we would want to encourage him to do so. So, for example, for this case, I would pick a try our app module that I have created before, drag it in, and want to make sure that it is only shown to the people that are not using the app, but they have an account, so that means they're registered on the website. So to kind of time those two activities on the channel, not using an app, but using a website and have created an account. So what I could do is to make sure that this content, the displaying of this content, is conditional. So I would edit the condition, and let's say it is not used an app. And the way I would define that is not used an app, I would pick one of the segmentation life cycles and say, well, this person has not been identified using an app. However, the website cycle, he was identified as an account holder, so he has created the account. And basically, what that has done is this section in an email now will be shown only to the people that are specifically targeted with it. Now, these blocks that I just dragged in, they are quite simple, and they don't have to be. So, for example, here I have 3 blocks, and it's kind of could be a speakers lineup, could be a product list. There are different kinds of blocks that you can create using our starter for 10 templates. And for example, it could be a product promotion like this, and it could be that there are multiple slightly more complex pieces of content in one block, and then once you pull it in, you can manage either change these individually or just leave them as they are. So by using the drag and drop editor and really easily accessing the data for personalization of, let's say, the first name or multiple objects, listing them out, or just conditionally showing different parts of an email in a really easy way, that's how ACTITO gets you to that value quickly, and just the ease of use removes the barrier for your creativity. So that's what I wanted to kind of show you, how we utilize that data. And maybe we do have a question or two that we can answer from the audience.
I was just looking at I was just asking the audience if they have a question. So I'm going to ask them again in Dutch. Dus jullie mogen gewoon een vraag stellen. Jullie kunnen dat gewoon doen in de chat, naar mij of naar iedereen. En jullie kunnen een hand opsteken. Dus ik hou dat ook in de gaten. Dus je kunt een raise hand en dan kan ik gelijk zien of iemand een vraag heeft. But at the moment I don't see a question yet. So no, there's a question coming. Can also products being loaded by SKU? I have to translate it now to English. Is it easy to upload products with based on their SKU? Hoe zeg je dat in het Engels?
Yeah, for the SKUs. Yes.
Yeah.
So that is definitely possible. For once we have a standard connected to a thing like let's say Shopify or PrestaShop, then it is literally just picking a product from the list because it's automatically synchronized with your ACTITO account. So that is possible. Unfortunately, I don't have it in this connected in this account, but that's something that that we have for the standard web shops.
And do you work with different APIs like Magento, or do you only have Shopify options?
So we do have Shopify and PrestaShop that we have out of the box kind of one-click connectors. We do have connectors for Magento and Janine, could you remind me? Just pulling up blank here. For Magento and there are two other shops.
Magento is possible.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. That's nice. Great.
Okay.
We cannot hear you, Janine.
That's all right. I was saying there's some that are straight out of the box, some that we just have a little bit more set up, like Magento, because obviously there's a lot of flexibility in Magento for how you've configured it to your business. But as well, you know, we've got a kind of open API framework. So our clients connect to all sorts of different sources that are meaningful to them and their sector. You know, we've got clients who are charities who have specialist fundraising software that we need to connect to. So there's a real wide range possible through APIs, through webhooks, through, you know, even SFTP transfer.
Great. Okay, thanks. That were the questions for this moment.
Okay.
Well, let me move on to our next use case then, and we can show you a little bit more about some of the possibilities within automation on the platform. It's obviously a big part of what we do as a solution. And this is just one example. So I didn't want to go for the standard examples with welcomes and abandoned carts. We see a lot of those. So I think this is a great one that we've done with Selency, and Selency are a kind of furniture brand. And what we did with them was to put this program in that was based around the wish list function that they have on their website. So we were on a daily basis targeting those prospects and customers who had something in their wish list which had reduced in price. You know, obviously they're really interested in the product. There's a desire for it there, but they haven't yet converted. So that price being reduced is a fantastic opportunity to get that conversion for them. So we're able to personalize, as Romantis has shown, the message with the product, with the discount that was now available for that product. And crucially, there's lots of functionality within ACTITO to make sure that you can set those global settings that you need so that people, you know, come out of this sequence if they purchased, So they're not getting one of these every day. So all of those kind of checks and balances are very easy to put in place without much complexity at all. So just to give you an idea of what this kind of program was able to do for Selency, as I said, the customer went online, they added a product to the wish list. And then we had this regular feed of product data coming in, which included a reduction price. So we were just looking for that price to be set as reduced in any way, for there to be a discount on there. The message went out to the customer in the chosen channel, and I'll show you some examples in a second. And obviously, you know, the results in terms of what this was able to do for them was great. So they got 30,000 euro in terms of incremental monthly sales. And the performance of this type of message, so really personalized to something that, you know, the customer had an appetite for at the time, were fantastic. So we got 2 times the open rate, 6% actual percentage points more in the click rate, and 4 in the kind of overall response compared to the newsletters they were doing. So it's a really powerful thing to put in place. And actually it was all driven by just being able to make those connections to 2 slightly unusual, you know, sources of data. Products not really unusual, but just being able to connect the wish list and having the flexibility to hold that wish list within ACTITO enabled them to make, you know, 30,000 extra a month. So I did mention that it was also across chosen channels. So this is just some examples of what you're able to do in terms of bringing that personalization across the kind of full journey for your customers. So in the case of a reduced price, web push is a fantastic channel to have in place there, because, you know, they're already online, they're potentially in a shopping mode at that moment. So when we see them there, we can push out this reduction and hopefully, you know, get the conversion there and then. But we can also connect in SMS, connect in email, and make sure that we are personalizing all of those channels with this information to, you know, encourage them back to the site to purchase that thing they were after. So Romantis is going to drop in and just show you how we put together that kind of scenario, and just how, you know, easy it is to get up and running with this stuff quite quickly.
Thank you, Janine. I will share my screen now. Okay. So what I wanted to do is to jump into the actual platform and try to build a similar scenario that Janine just talked through, and just show you and introduce to you at the same time our automation and kind of scenario building capabilities. So I'm already in a blank scenario per se, and on the left side I have several different types of blocks. So we'll start a scenario with a start event, and in this case we would want to start with a targeting where we identify the people that have a product that has dropped in price. So I can choose a targeting from one of the price decrease options that I have prepared, and that means when a person matches that criteria, this scenario is fired and he is put into kind of at the beginning of this experience. So what we're going to do next, we're going to do a simple filter. So here again we do have simple filters, and we're going to check if a person is opted into marketing. So that's the kind of the first check we'll do. And once we have that, you know, if he passes this condition, then we do want to send an email to this person, reminding him, essentially a message reminding him of this thing that he has put in the wish list and now is dropped in price. So then I can use one of the action items, and there's a few channels that are readily available. In this case, I'm going to follow the scenario that Janine put together. So we'll send an email, and again, I'm just dragging it in, connecting, and selecting one of the email templates prepared to make sure that that's the message that's being sent at this stage in the journey. So once the first message, let's say, been sent, we do want to wait for a couple of days before we try to send a reminder, and that would be a final message. So I'm going to use one of the wait actions here. Just drag it in, and let's say we do want to wait for 2 days before we send a reminder. So give a good time for a person to go and consider buying it. After 2 days, the first thing obviously we want to check is, has the person bought something? Because if he has bought something, probably then he already kind of went online and looked through the wares. So we want to just to check on his profile condition to say, does he have a purchase? So the last purchase was happened in the last 2 days. So let me say A has in the less than 2 days, and we'll do another check to make sure that if he didn't have it, but maybe for some other reasons he is not available to participate. He doesn't want that message anymore. Maybe he did another action, so we'll just do another filter to make sure that that he's not that he still is eligible for the second retargeting message. So in this case, it could be that he changed some opt-in information, or he did some other action that we want to make sure to exclude him. So once we get to that, once we pass to both of these checks, we just would want to send a follow-up message from an email, just like Janine described. Now, obviously, we can send it as an email. However, I just wanted to kind of point out that we do have in ACTITO quite a few options for the channels. So that be a push notification, a wallet push, or an SMS. And we do even have some of the more exotic channels that some of our clients use, like sending to print, so maybe to actual physical follows. Maybe in this scenario it doesn't work, but in general, for the VIP customer treatment, that might be a good way to do it. And if, for example, we just want to change actually to do a follow-up with web push, I would simply choose a push notification. And again, just like I did with the email campaigns. So once it's prepared, I will just select it and build my journey that way. So it was quite simple to do using this drag and drop method to put together a journey that is relatively advanced compared to the kind of a standard state, I guess, of the marketing automation, which is, taking a look at the dropping price of a product, cross-checking it against a person's wish list, and making sure that he matches all those criteria, and therefore we follow up on the price drop messages. So that's the kind of the very small glimpse of how our editor works, how it is easy to use and leverage that data. And again, because the threshold is low, that's it gets your creativity then going, and you can get to value much quicker than with other tools. Do you have any questions? We can answer one or two, I guess.
Yeah, I got one, which might be interesting for this part of the presentation. First of all, what are the possibilities if you don't have a web shop? So somebody has a website with products on it, and they have a folder that people can download. So when people download a folder, that mostly means that somebody's very interested in the products. How
Yes.
is what kind of journey can you map, or can marketing automation be implemented for this kind of thing?
That's a very good question. Now, obviously, you kind of beginning a journey with different kind of product changes. That's obviously a quite standard. But like you mentioned, sometimes it's just the specific behavior on the website that you wanted to trigger an automation, like somebody downloaded an ebook or something like that. For that, we do have a start event and what we call goals. And a goal is essentially a little snippet that would be deployed on your website on a specific page where whenever a person visits that page, and if he is identified, he's not anonymous. So, for example, if he clicked through from an email to the website, and we can automatically identify, so that identification rate is quite high. Once we identify that, and once he visited a place where we put the goal on, that means a person reached that goal, and the journey could begin with the goal being finite. So, for example, we do have a few goals here. So, for example, well, obviously it's slightly different, but visited a content category A on a page on your website, and then you start with that, going through the different scenarios. So that's how typically a similar case would be addressed.
I think that's answered the question. I will ask another question is, what are the options for combining and or condition and targeting?
So there's quite a few options to do it. So let me quickly jump into another screen and we can pick one of the targetings. So, for example, I'm going to take a look at the opted into marketing targeting that we used, and this is quite it's going to be quite a simple one. But what we have is an expert mode per se, and we allow to join different queries to be either connected via an and. If I want to add, let's say, another query cluster, or via an or. And by using these two options, you can pretty much create a whatever query that you like.
And you can flip the and or in terms of the stacking order. I think it's worth probably dropping down on that selection of the modules you can add from Mantis, because there really is, as we said, access into all of those tables of data you have. So all of the ones that we've showed, but also often the history of those as well. So the history of their segmentation, which is, I think, a fantastic feature for ACTITO. So, you know, if you've got someone who's qualified as a kind of silver customer in your, you know, in your loyalty program, you probably want to go, great, that's, you know, you've now got access to all of these features, but you might want to adjust that message if that person was actually a gold customer last month and they're actually, you know, their loyalty is declining. You might want to address that differently than someone who was a bronze customer last month and has, you know, now qualified as silver. So having the history and the direction of a lot of the data as well, I think makes it really valuable for you to refine that message and deliver a much better experience.
Yes, so I hope that answered the question.
I think so, yes. No further questions at the moment.
Should we?
Ik zie nog één vraag van Jan ook. He's asking, can we also connect to Google Shopping or Facebook?
Yes, so we can do that. So I'm just going to quickly jump back into the scenario. The way we do it is by using a channel which we call a add to custom audience. So obviously, when you have Google audiences or Facebook segments, you are typically, you know, taking a file and importing it and using it. It's there, and it's a kind of pay-per-click. So therefore, we allow you to add these these different points for add to audience. And what it does, it essentially collects the data in a readily exportable format. So essentially, like in a file that is specifically formatted to be easily imported into other platforms, and you can then use that to import it either in Google audiences or in Facebook segments, and then go for the lookalikes or a direct marketing. We don't typically see that the clients would automatically synchronize this data straight into the into Facebook, for example, for the simple reason that it is a pay-per-click. So they really want to make sure that the filtering down and the amount of data that kind of passes through it, they cast a kind of a human eye on it before they let it into the pay-per-click. Yeah, hopefully that answers the question.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Janine, should we jump back to
the
presentation?
Okay. Let me just jump back in and give everyone time to think of any more questions that they have. I just wanted to make sure that we also just let you know a little bit more about who we are as ACTITO and our general approach to things, outside of just the functionality of the tool. So I think there are 3 things for me that are really the kind of core of who we are as ACTITO and how we approach marketing automation. The first, Romantis has mentioned a few times, which is we really want to make sure that you as marketers have the power in your hands. So obviously there's always some technical involvement, but we're really trying to keep that as low as possible and make it as accessible for you. So there's a lot of, even for the more kind of technical aspects, we put templates in place, we give you the autonomy to actually set up a new table yourself whenever you need it, whenever you've identified the business case for that. So it's not a one massive setup at the beginning and that's it. That's the framework you work in. We want you to have flexibility to scale, to iterate your program, and to be able to grow with you through that. So in a way that's very intuitive, very user friendly. So that's our focus on everything that we do to build out our platform. And we also really believe in being best of breed. We want to make sure that the functionality we are giving you are the things that you need, and give you the power, again, to pull together a stack that suits your business and where you're coming from. So, if you're in charity and you have specialist, fundraising software, if you're in retail and you want to connect to your both online and offline stores, we want you to be able to pull the pieces of the puzzle together that you need. So we have a very open integration framework that we focus a lot of our time on as well. But we understand that sometimes everyone would like to have sometimes an easier life. So we also bring options of add-ons, other best of breed solutions together into a single license for you. So there's a range of those add-ons that you can tap into if you want to, or you can select your own choice to suit you. And the result of all of this for us is we really want to enable you to move quickly, to start today, and to be able to keep on growing. So it's about delivering that digital transformation at pace and at a budget to suit you. So it's as growing as fast as you want to, starting where you need to start, and giving you a fast time to market, fast time to your ROI, so that, as I say, you can continuously evolve and iterate. So that, I think they're the 3 kind of cores about why ACTITO. It's about the marketer first, usability first. It's about creating the solution and the stack that you need for your business, and being able to start that straight away, not having a long lead time to start to see that return on investment. And we're quite open and transparent as a group. So there's quite a few reviews, certainly from our customers on G2. So if you'd like to check out a little bit more about how our customers experience ACTITO and what they have to say about us, then do hop onto G2 and you can find us there. Has anyone thought of any extra questions?
There are some extra questions, yes. Well, the first one is a quite quick question, and actually I thought I had the answer, but I don't actually. So is the platform also available in Dutch? Or is it in English?
I think English, French and Dutch. Is that right, Mantis? I'm afraid I'm...
and Spanish.
And Spanish.
Okay.
And so Spanish. But we do, as I say, we're quite language orientated, being Belgium HQ. So that's the standard ones that the platform is available in. But we also allow you, there's quite a few features through ACTITO that allow you to do multilingual campaigns as well. So being able to send an English and Dutch campaign within the same campaign. And target that at English or Dutch speakers, depending on how they're marked in your database. So you get to kind of multilingual campaigns, multilingual forms, quite straightforward with an ACTITO as well.
And you have an office also in the Netherlands and Dutch colleagues as well. So it's...
Yes, but our main offices are at the moment, Belgium, Netherlands, France, England and Canada.
Oh, Canada. Okay. So somebody asked if we could see a bit of reporting in ACTITO. How does a report look like? And
Absolutely. So let me quickly jump into a platform. And right, so there are two, I'm going to call it levels of reporting. So first I am now just looking at a standard campaign report. I chose an email campaign, but let's say for the SMS or for the push campaigns, it's going to be just a similar, but just less of information. So for example, the first thing is you have the standard top level information, what kind of database was targeted, how many sent, open, click, so kind of standard information. You can take a look at the opening timeline, how the clicks are displayed, and also a heat map of the campaign, and some deliverability information basically for that campaign. Now I apologize that it is a first test campaign that I clicked, and it doesn't have a lot of information, but you get the idea of what kind of information is available. Now the second part, if there's a need for much more customized and much more specific reporting, what we do have in the portal is an add-on that's part of our ecosystem, what Janine talked about, best of breed. We call it marketing intelligence. And basically what it does, it allows you to have a custom dashboard, for example, here. So it's a retail e-commerce campaign overview, and it's an interactive dashboard when you are able to kind of filter down and drill down into your data. So in this case, your order information meshed together with the information, kind of first-party data about your customers. So maybe they're different age group and so on. And once you are kind of clicking on these different graphs, you're almost like creating a targeting query. So, you know, it's every dashboard is updating. So for example, here you can see the overall revenue, and you want to see specifically during this time from June to August, what kind of campaigns were sent. It even can be tracked to specific locations based on kind of IP translation to locale, or you can see at the top level information of the campaigns. Now, this is not a set in stone dashboard. This is a custom one just created, and typically we go down this marketing intelligence route when the customer has some specific requirements that the standard reporting can't meet. Now, Obviously, this is all well and good, that you can explore and find different pockets of data that you might want to activate, or some customers that you can create a promotion for them. But probably the nicest thing about this is, once you've drilled into this data that you have a way to target it. So basically, goes back into the ACTITO targeting and uploads a file, so essentially a selected file of people that match your criteria from the dashboard, and then you can have as a starting point this selection, and then you can add the different information from the profile, or like we saw before, from any other from the goals, visiting the website and so on, and create a targeting based on your initial selection from the reports. So it's kind of the full cycle. You have the data, they visualize it to you, you explore it, find insights, and then you can execute it.
Great.
So those are the two kind of types of reporting.
Well, we're running out of time, and most of the questions I still have, I think 2 are about the API and the API framework, how easy it is to connect to other external databases. And I think you already gave me the answer that there are a few that you connect to. I also got I think somebody also said that it's really, it's more than just an open API framework, it's bringing the best-in-class solution.
Yeah.
It's such a way that the user don't even notice moving it to a different solution. So that's I think a colleague of yours, but he said ACTITO will service you on a lot of these, harness the full relationship with you as a customer, including invoicing. So that's that's
so
nice.
if there is a need for I mean, we are very open about our API, and we do have a website called developers.actito.com, and it's a portal where you have the full integration framework explained with the API references and the way to test it. So I mean, we're not going to go through this, but just browse around if you're interested in developers.actito.com, and you have the full API reference and all the materials you need to integrate, and it also explains the standard integrations as well.
Yeah, and I will reach out to the people who had some questions concerning this topic, and if they still have questions, then I'll connect them to you guys, and then we can answer them.
Thank you.
Great, then it's 5 o'clock.